Hey all, this is an oldie but goodie, one of the first NDEs ever sent into this channel. As we continue to remaster the older videos, I felt that this one would be great to re-release sooner, rather than later. Dear Heaven Awaits, I have been watching these NDE stories from readers for a few weeks now. I do so enjoy hearing about others' stories on this subject. I think also, I was sent to these stories to help me through grief, as we all grieve. As humans, we long for seeing, hearing, and feeling the touch of those we love. In heaven, this is a very different experience. There is energy, but nobody has these very human qualities of sensation. It is why we choose to come to this plane of existence. It is unlike any other life you can live to learn from. I lost my stepson suddenly to sepsis almost a year ago. He was always the sweetest guy. I loved him a lot. He was his father's rock. I grieve for my husband's pain. He has nothing to grasp strongly in his beliefs, and so I grieve for two. I know Chris is there for us all, especially for his dad right now. When your energy is bogged in grief, it is harder to sense that. So, to remind my heart of who I am and where I come from, I would like to tell my NDE story to you all. I hope it brings some measure of comfort to those who need it. Much of what we experience is the creation of our own beliefs in this life. Because we are part and whole of God, we create as He creates. This creation starts with love. It is and will always be who we are at a soul level. The balance of negative and positive energy is our teacher while we have this earthly experience. It's really almost laughable. We leave perfect love to learn perfect love. Being human must be a very special course offered in heaven, one we seem to want to take over and over again. I will try to keep this brief. If you are interested in the whole story of my experiences, I've written a couple of ebooks on it. There are a lot of stories. I'm 62. I originally wrote them for my grandchildren. Then, my thoughts were to send it out and ask the angels to guide others to them who might find some food for thought in my life stories. Just look it up. Just an Imp, an empathic medium's journey, and Just an Imp's life lessons from Spirit. My name is Deb. It is okay for the world to know my name. I am not afraid of people thinking I'm crazy. I believe that what resonates as truth for someone is up to them, as each truth is different. That's okay. In the end, we get where we need to go. Find what we need to find. I can only ever tell my own story. I grew up in the 60s, such a laid-back time, not as complicated as it is today. My family was like any other. My mother was a Methodist. My father was non-denominational. I suppose, like me, his ideas of religion did not fit what he knew as his truth. But his faith in God was strong. He believed that your relationship with God is nurtured through self. He was very psychic, and like me, a medium. So you see, talking, seeing, and interacting with the beyond is not unfamiliar to us. It happens all the time. My mother was empathic, which is something I very much am. I can feel the person you are, the things that you are going through, the very depth of your emotions. Not always fun, but time teaches you the ebb and flow of it. You learn to glean what is important in knowledge and let the rest go out, back into the energy. Yet, in the 60s, people didn't admit these abilities much outside their own families. It is more widely understood and accepted now. Now, just because you have abilities doesn't mean you automatically understand them or choose to use them. It is a lifetime of learning, as is anything. In a moment that it is right for your life, a switch gets flipped. At least that's what happened to me just shortly after my father passed away in 1985. I suppose being born into a family with abilities must have been my plan all along. These parents I chose would nurture me toward my future path, give me all the tools I needed to be loving of myself and others, kind and open-minded towards others, empathic enough to see every side of emotional life. Then I would become well enough experienced in my own life to have been there, done that. I know how it feels. I don't think any of it was ever just happenstance. I don't believe in that anyway. When the spirits chose me, my thoughts were suddenly no longer mine in those moments. I was as shocked as anyone else in the room. Spirit was knocking. They needed to connect with their loved ones through me. Long story short, the door never shuts once it is opened, and you acknowledge what it is. It has been an amazing ride, one where I've learned never to say never, and never think you know it all. They will show you what is infinitely possible in a world of energy. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2007, 2 years after my mother passed from uterine cancer. Thus, the dreaded radical hysterectomy. I have had a lot of surgeries in my life. Lost a kidney to cancer in 2001. This was hard on me. I had to battle getting well. Shortly before surgery, I asked God if I would be okay. I had children. I had a husband of 24 years. People who loved and needed me. I wasn't ready to go home. He answered that. I was awoken from my sleep one night to 2 of the largest orbs of bright light I have ever seen. These are angels. They hovered for a minute over me. Then one at a time, they shot out the wall behind my bed with a flash and a click, like someone took a photo. As they passed from the room, it was like a vacuum trying to suck my whole room out with it. When it was over, there was this absolute peace that filled me up inside. With joy and amazement, I yelled out, "Oh, do that again!" It feels so good. I knew I would be okay in the end. I never doubted that. I just didn't know what the journey to get there entailed. About 3 weeks after my radical hysterectomy, I was not feeling well. I couldn't eat. My stomach hurt terribly. Finally, my oncologist put me back in the hospital for some tests. They couldn't find a thing wrong. After a couple of days, they sent me home. I was feeling better after fluids. That evening as I went to bed, I had to grab the pan I kept by my bed and throw up. It just kept coming. I walked from my dark room to the bathroom. Everyone but my youngest son was asleep. I had been in a separate bedroom from my husband. In the bathroom, I realized that what I was throwing up was like dark coffee grounds. It still kept coming. Only now it was coming from both ends nonstop. At this point, I instinctively knew I was in trouble. My mind went to, now, what do I do? I started yelling for my husband. My son heard me, walked in. Seeing the situation, he froze. I was instantly transported to this calmness I can't explain. It happens every time I have ever been this ill. I should have been scared to death. But calm embraced me as I spoke directly to my son. Wake your dad. Call an ambulance. I remember telling my husband I was sorry. I felt I might have to leave him. I passed out, but got directly back up like I was willing to stay conscious. All I could hear was him saying over and over, "Stay with me." As the ambulance arrived, my husband helped me to my living room recliner. My first quiet words to the paramedic with the giant handlebar mustache were, "Am I leaking?" He smiled at me and said so sweetly, "No." The other paramedic, who had gone to the bathroom to see how much blood I had lost, came back and had a sort of pale, shocked look on his face. He said to the mustached paramedic, with firm, serious emphasis on his words, "There's a lot of blood in that bathroom." Needless to say, I was put quickly in the ambulance and on my way. Getting an IV line was a fight at best. A tube down my nose to pump blood from my stomach. I was just drifting back into that calm space, aware of everything said and done. My husband tightly held my hand and cried. The feel of hot tears on the back of my hand. Heard family members quickly being allowed a moment to see me. My eyes would not open, and my mouth would not speak. I just was peacefully aware. At some point, I was aware that they were getting me ready for an endoscopy. Then it was just silent darkness around me. I realized I was seeing this black, endless void. It wasn't the way you see dark when you close your eyes. like where I'd been in my still and aware calmness. I then noticed this little bit of spotlight shining upon a man I recognized as my digestive doctor. I have struggled with stomach issues all my life, as did my father. Human bodies often bear the brunt of empathic abilities. You have to learn to be vigilant in letting what you take on from others go. Not always so easy. While the doctor silently did his job, I realized the body that looked like an inanimate doll laying on that gurney was me. There was blood puddling to the gurney from my mouth that was propped open with this little funnel thing that held the tube running down my throat. My hair hadn't been pulled back and was laying in the puddle, soaking it up like a sponge. My thought was, oh, that's going to be hard to get out of my hair. I was remembering the time I had gone off a horse and split my head open. It took me weeks to get that dried stuff out of my hair. I couldn't pull away from watching this scene. It was as if I needed to understand something. Peace surrounded me, a peace that in this life has no words to describe adequately. I was being blanketed by the energy of perfect love. I heard the thought, everyone you love will be okay. I knew this was the truth. I had no worries. I just had this clarity of thought. I am so much more than this body before me. I am always and forever. I awoke just momentarily to the feel of a needle being placed in my neck. Seems it was the only way to get good IV access for surgery. I was aware just long enough to feel my husband take my hand and kiss my cheek before they wheeled me away. It was touch and go, so I understand. I had had an ulcer that ate through the main artery hidden under my gallbladder, and I bled out. Something a CT I had had in the hospital was unable to detect. I passed once on the table without another NDE. What I had to learn was what I needed to learn. I had already made my request long before that I wished to stay. So it is my guess, no further intervention was needed. I do wish I'd seen my mom or my dad. Oddly, I know there were other souls there, but I never took my gaze from that gurney. About a week after getting out of intensive care, I begged the nurses to wash the blood from my hair. It wasn't apparent, oddly, that I had blood in my hair, but I insisted it was there. Finally, the nurses wheeled me down to a sink where they could lay me back to wash my hair. I remember a nurse commented to me, "Did you just color your hair?" "Number, I don't color my hair," I answered. The nurse kind of hesitated and commented, "Well, there are sure a lot of red colors rinsing out in the sink." I had to laugh a little. I couldn't help it. Then I simply answered, "I told you I had blood in my hair." The nurses went silent and never said another word. Knowing that I am so much more than just this body I now reside in has helped me with my readings for spirits. I can let go and let in the info that needs to come through from them to their loved ones. I have experienced incredible moments that are all in my 2 books. This story is much more than this brief synopsis. It continues even beyond that. Maybe one more book in the next year or so. Sometimes I just get a heavenly push to write one. Everything in life is as it should be. You are never lost. You sidestep now and then. You are always perfect, always loved. No matter what you think, your loved ones in spirit are always near to give you a little cheering session to help push you forward. They want you to live your life, love and move forward on your intended path. When it is your time to go home, I promise they will embrace you with such love and peace. God bless and keep you all. That does it for Deb's NDE. I want to once again thank Deb for sending this NDE into the channel and allowing me to read it for you all. If you are interested in learning more about Deb, feel free to check out the books that she wrote. They have been mentioned in the video and will be linked in the pinned comment if I can find links to them. Anyway, let me know what you all thought of the experience. Until the next video, be blessed.